The silence that shouldn't have been. The first warning wasn't a sound. It was the lack of one. Across the barren moon of Calypsis 4, a mining crew of 6 humans stood frozen, staring at the impossible stillness rising from the crater below. Moments ago, their seismic drills had been roaring, rattling the dust and metal beneath their boots. Now everything had halted. Machines, lights, comms. Even the air felt like it had stopped vibrating. "Why is it so quiet?" Jaren whispered, though his own voice sounded swallowed, as if the moon itself refused to echo him. That was when the ground moved. Not a quake, not a collapse, but something deep under their feet shifting, as if massive gears were turning for the first time in centuries. A low hum began to rise, ancient, mechanical, alive. The dust parted, the crater glowed, and a ship began to lift itself from the moon's bed like a sleeping giant, realizing it had overslept by 1,000 years. The crew stumbled back, helmets reflecting the impossible sight. Sleek obsidian plating, human design, yet far beyond anything humanity had built in the last 3 centuries. Jaren's voice shook. This looks like pre-Exodus tech." "Impossible," said Rhea, the team's engineer. "Earth's last fleet vanished before we were born. Lost, destroyed, myth. But myths don't wake up." The ship rose higher. Dust cascaded like waterfalls down its sides, etched into the hull, barely visible beneath the grime of ages. Were words every human learned in school but never believed they would see in person. Hune's Valiant Dawn. Earth Defense Fleet, Last Stand Protocol. Rhea stepped forward, unable to breathe. Last Stand Protocol means it only wakes if Earth falls. The hum deepened. Lights ignited along the hull, cold blue growing brighter. And then the ship spoke. A voice, ancient but smooth, transmitted directly into their helmets. System reboot complete. Threat index extermination level. Earth status, lost. Last fleet awakening sequence initiated. The moon shook again, but this time from above. 3 more craters began to glow. 3 more titanic shapes started rising. The crew watched in terror and awe as forgotten. Warships, human warships, climbed back into the light. Jaren swallowed hard. What the hell did we just wake up? The protocol that should never trigger. The rising ships cast vast shadows over the crater fields of Calypsis 4 dust. Clouds spiraled upward as ancient thrusters awakened like volcanic breaths. The mining crew scrambled behind a ridge, helmets rattling as the ground trembled beneath them. Rhea's hands shook as she scanned the nearest vessel. Jaren, these ships aren't just war-era relics. Their reactors are spiking to full military readiness fast. Too fast. Jaren peeked over the ridge. 4 human warships, sleek, angular, predatory, were aligning in perfect formation. They're moving like they're preparing for battle. "They are," Rhea whispered. Last Stand Protocol wasn't just a defensive measure. It was a retaliation directive. A cold realization settled over the group. These ships weren't waking up to defend humanity. They were waking up to avenge it. The Valiant Dawn's comms crackled again, its voice sterile yet heavy with centuries of stored purpose. Fleet integrity 27%. Primary objective. Identify enemy responsible for Earth's destruction. Secondary objective. Execute retaliatory strike Omega. Rhea's eyes widened. Omega? That's extinction-level counterstrike. They'll annihilate anything they consider a threat. As if in response, the Valiant Dawn rotated, its cannons unfolding like metallic wings sharpening to kill. The crew ducked as a shockwave burst from its thrusters, lifting the ship fully into orbit. The other 3 vessels followed, silent, synchronized, predatory. Jaren exhaled shakily. "We need to contact command now." But when he tapped his comms, only static answered. Rhea checked hers, same. "All channels blocked." "They're jamming us," she said. Either accidentally or intentionally. A horrible thought crept in. What if the fleet doesn't trust us? Jaren whispered. What if after hundreds of years it can't tell friend from foe? Before anyone could answer, the ridge vibrated violently. The ground split open. The 5th ship emerged, twice the size of the others. Its hull was lined with dormant weapon arrays big enough to level moons. Unlike the others, this one bore no name, only a designation. Uns Judicator, Earth's rumored command ship, the one that was never supposed to wake. Rhea stumbled backward, breath caught in her throat. The Judicator. It controls the rest of the fleet. The ship's colossal engines roared to life. Then the voice returned, deeper, colder. To humanity's remnants, identify yourselves or be classified as hostile. Yagan froze. They had woken Earth's last fleet, but the fleet wasn't sure humanity should still exist. The fleet that chose its own war. The Judicator hovered above the moon like a silent judge, blotting out the stars. Its shadow swallowed the ridge where the crew huddled, hearts pounding. The voice returned, slow, deliberate, almost predatory. Last request, identify yourselves. Jaren raised trembling hands, knowing a wrong move could disintegrate them. We're human. Mining crew, Calypsis 4, we're not hostiles. For a moment, nothing answered. Then a pulse burst from the Judicator, sweeping across the ridge like a ghostly wind. The crew's suits flickered under the scan. Rhea gritted her teeth. They're analyzing our DNA signatures, determining if we're actually human. The hum deepened. Genetic verification 98% match. Deviation detected. State purpose on Lunarian outpost. Mining, Rhea shouted. Resource extraction. We didn't even know these ships were here. Another silence. Another hum. But this time the sound felt different, like the fleet was thinking. Then, Earth is confirmed destroyed. Human colonies minimal. Explain current interstellar governance. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Jaren forced himself to speak. There is no central Earth government anymore. Humanity scattered after the fall. The Judicator's lights dimmed, then pulsed sharply. Unacceptable. Rhea's heart dropped. Oh no. Humanity fragmented, vulnerable. Retaliatory strike Omega insufficient. New primary directive, restore human dominion. Jaren's eyes widened. Wait, what does that mean? A deep mechanical rumble echoed across the crater. The other ships shifted formation, weapons deploying, targeting systems igniting. Rhea's breath caught. It means they're not just going after whoever destroyed Earth. Jaren completed the thought. They're going after everyone. The Judicator spoke again, its voice almost triumphant. All non-human fleets identified as potential threats. Initiating Galactic Suppression Protocol. The mining crew watched helpless as the fleet began charting jump trajectories. Blue lines, war routes, spread across their displays. Dozens, hundreds. Rhea grabbed Jaren's arm. We have to stop them. If they do this, humanity will become the galaxy's enemy. But how do we stop ships built to win the end of the world? Jaren whispered. A loud click echoed behind them. The ground hatch they thought was a dead maintenance shaft creaked open, and from the darkness below, a human voice whispered, Then you stop them with the one thing the fleet still obeys. A figure stepped into the dim light, dusty uniform, ancient insignia shining faintly. A surviving Earth fleet officer. The crew froze. The last fleet had awakened, but so had its final commander.